Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and here comes another round of less than good news from DICE and the CTE initiative patching. As stated previously in the patch notes, DICE have decided to nerf weapons overall as a result of, quote, them being deadlier because of the netcode updates and the visual recoil changes. So all full auto weapons with 25 max damage or more got their max damage reduced by 1. The Scar H, the Bulldog, the Ace 52, so all of the 762 hard-hitting assault rifles, also saw their minimum damage drop off by 1. Now, Chris from Battle Nonsense was nice enough to run some tests at different distances firing shots at his body, and I think I'll link that video down below because he's got a great and very thorough technical channel on Battlefield. You should really um, subscribe to him. Well, what he found was that the change to damage dice did by decreasing it by 1 affects the amount of bullets needed to kill a player inside 10 meters. So you need to land one more hit to kill a player inside 10 meters, increasing the bullets to kill and the TTK or the time to kill. Everything except headshots is affected by this, and headshots aren't obviously because of the headshot multiplier. Now, people in the forums of the CTE are understandably upset at such sweeping blind changes thrown at us Battlefield 4 players a year into the game, no less, but the problem is those people in the forums are upset for all the wrong reasons. They are screaming right now that this change will supposedly make the game more noob friendly, and that to kill you now have to empty an entire magazine into a guy just to see him die. Well, now I'm going to explain why this is wrong, a wrong understanding of things, and what they should be mad at instead. This change in actuality increases the bullets needed to kill by only by 1, and it's actually not making the game more noob friendly at all. If anything, it's the opposite. Now you need to land more shots on the target, which may or may not require more skill. Certainly the term empty an entire magazine at someone is ridiculous in any context. But there are some things that this change will affect because, as I said in a couple of my previous videos, in an FPS game as involved as Battlefield 4, you can't change something without it having an effect on 100 other things. Everything is interconnected and depends on each other, you see. So, what this will do is, first of all, affect your ammo stores or your backup magazines usage. It will make you spend more ammo in close quarters, making it run out faster, but only in close quarters. This is especially significant to the 762 assault rifles, which have very little ammo to begin with. What people don't seem to understand is that this change won't affect long-range damage, and thus the drop-off and the body part multipliers in Battlefield 4. It will only affect your time to kill inside 10 meters. Another thing that most people seem to overlook is muscle memory. The thing is that over time of playing an FPS game, like Battlefield 4 for example, you develop a little bit of a feel for your particular weapon and how long it takes you to kill someone with it. For people like me, it's actually a thing, and this is especially apparent when an FPS game in question is very consistent in its netcode, which Battlefield 4 unfortunately is not. I'm sure you know that what happens is you develop a sense of TTK or time to kill required by your weapon when shooting at another player, and To save on ammo, you usually stop firing after that set amount of time, let's say half a second, that your arm remembers, expecting him, to drop dead. Some of us even immediately press the reload button after stopping fire on target to top off our magazine. Now, the problem here is that first and foremost, your muscle memory will mean exactly dick after this change because all the weapons, well, most of them will be turned on their heads and require one extra hit on target. And another thing is that with this shitty netcode that Battlefield 4 has, your muscle memory is pretty much irrelevant because you really cannot expect the same results in all situations with the same gun. In truth, everything is and will be even more inconsistent. And yet another area that Battlefield 4 fails at, that's kind of related to your muscle memory, is the kill feed, I think. The kill feed, uh, well, I was playing a few days ago on GoMod Railway server in a helicopter, and I was putting the hurt on some tank. And what happened was a little bird crossed right into the path of my rockets between me and the tank, and as I peppered him with rockets, I saw hit markers. And as I was getting away, I knew I saw those hit markers, but I didn't know where they came from or what I hit until about 5 seconds later when the kill feed comes up with two signs of vehicles destroyed and, does it very slowly and sluggishly. Now, the reason I mention the kill feed at all here is that it's a great tool you have at your disposal when playing a game, the game like Battlefield 4, of knowing when you've killed the other guy and should stop firing. It also plays into your muscle memory somewhat because you have expect that kill sign to pop up and let go of the mouse for that deciding half a second. But in this half a second, the other guy might just get enough time on his hands to get a shot off, killing you, that deciding shot. And actually, forget half a second, there are kills inside one frame, which is a lot shorter than half a second, depending on your FPS counter, but I'll get to that in a second, I guess. And the reason I really dislike the kill feed in Battlefield 4 is that, well, we all remember the kill feed in Battlefield 3. It was spot on and nearly instant. It was much better than in Battlefield 4 and what we have now. At least I think so. Okay, now the problem with the one-hit kills and double taps inside one frame is, you see, the problem with Battlefield 4 client is that apparently people with upwards packet loss are basically resending their shot fired indicator twice sometimes. People with bad internet, you see, are likely to suffer from outbound packet loss, which means that not everything their Battlefield 4 client sends to the server actually reaches it. So the server does not confirm it and does not deal out the damage to the target. Then what does the client do? Well, the client resends it in one packet, both the now and the before damage. So basically the client is now sending the damage from more than one round fired to the server at once, hitting the server, confirming, and completely demolishing the other player in what seems to be one hit. Now, again, Chris has a very, Chris of Battle Nonsense has a video detailing this much better than I could, and he has a few ideas on how to fix this in his videos. which I thought were actually pretty good ones, and I thought DICE would really benefit from listening to him. Now, one of his ideas was to limit how many damage indicators Battlefield 4 client sends in one packet. Another idea he had was to ignore the resend completely by the server. So I think both ideas are pretty great, and I'm gonna link this video below in the description because I really think he's onto something. And as I said, DICE would really benefit from listening to him. So please check him out and subscribe to him because he has had some great video ideas in the past, like ideas for the comms rows and the chat, and just a lot of good stuff. But let me get back to my rant here on the damage change. Having said all this, besides the muscle memory and the ammo amount that you're going to be expending with this change, and these other things that the sweeping nerfs will affect, I also have a couple of problems with these changes. Well, obviously I have more than a couple. Firstly, these pretty much game-changing tweaks are arriving nearly a year into the game's life cycle, so quite late in the game, literally, to try and change the way we play, quite a lot. So, and secondly, perhaps the most interesting reason for these changes, the crappy netcode DICE LA hasn't been able to completely fix. That also supposedly makes the weapons a lot more deadly now by making them easier to use, is the real reason behind these nerfs. The cynic in me wants to say, well, because they couldn't fix all the netcode and the hit detection issues, which is, the hit detection is more often wonky at best, and the lags, spikes, and everything, and the one hit kills and such. They are instead taking it out on the weapons, making them less effective in order to counteract the problems with the game engine. More so, I remember a while back catching this weird phrase in a level cap video. He said that the nearly unknown competitive in nearly unknown competitive Battlefield 4 circles, the hard-hitting weapons like the Scar H are banned because the netcode is so inconsistent and bad that the damage the Scar H puts out is so high that it leads to many insta-kills and constant accusations, which just ruins the game. So what I think is happening, and of course this is just my opinion and I could be wrong, is that DICE LA is really not able to go ahead and rework Battlefield 4 from the ground up to make it a functioning FPS game in those places that it's broken. So instead they are just taking a hammer to the weapons, basically instead of giving it a much needed trim at the top for a few stray hairs, they are cutting the legs from under the whole thing with a buzzsaw. Now, as I was saying about the damage nerf being a lazy fix, maybe this is all related somehow. The fact that they wanted to nerf the 1000 RPM weapons and are nerfing the damage might just be a way to sidestep fixing the packet loss issue or some other weird issue with the so-called netcode. And this just feels incredibly lazy and heavy-handed to me. I mean, obviously I can be wrong, and I probably am, but, these are just my ideas as far as the nerfing goes. Oh, and one good thing coming out from this whole mess is that they are supposedly reverting the 900 RPM changes to FAMAS and the Scorpion and such to vanilla game values, but the ominous disclaimer says that they may be revisited, these changes may be revisited at a later time. Apparently, DICE got too many letter bombs after the FAMAS and the Scorpion nerf, so, time will tell what happens next. So leave me a comment below, tell me if you think I'm right about these changes being less than perfect, or is DICE doing the right thing here and the weapons are indeed more deadly as they say. And as always, thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one, and remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.